Right now on Inside Texoma, we are taking an inside behind-the-scenes look at the Wichita Falls Police Department and kind of a bit of a sneak peek at some programs they're kicking off for the year 2012. Joining me now with more, of course, Sergeant Scott Vaughn with the Wichita Falls Police Department. And what can people expect to hear this Sunday?
Well, we're excited about a new system, Raids Online. It's an internet-based web resource that people can get onto, and it's just a good avenue for the police department to provide some crime data to the public.
Absolutely. And Deputy Chief Manuel Borrego, I understand there's other new programs kicking off.
Right, we are going through an accreditation process called the Texas Best, and what it is police chiefs come and review our policies and make sure that we're maintaining our professionalism and following the law.
We're also going to be talking about the different crime-free programs that the police department has to offer, crime-free business, crime-free housing, things of that nature.
A lot of good tips and a lot of new programs that we're going to be talking about. It all starts right now on Inside Texoma. Good morning, Texoma. I'm Ashley Fitzwater. Thanks for joining us for another look inside Texoma. This morning, we're taking a behind-the-scenes look at the Wichita Falls Police Department and some new things they have ready to kick off this year, including an online program that's really going to benefit you, Texoma. It all kicks off in just a few months. We're going to take a closer look at that and how the department is expanding a program that's already in place to keep you and businesses in this area safe from criminals. And joining me now to talk about just that, we have three officers with the Wichita Falls Police Department, starting with Sergeant Scott Vaughn. We also have Deputy Chief Manuel Borrego and Officer Harold McClure. Thank you all so much for taking time to be here today and, of course, sharing with Texoma a look ahead for 2012 as we continue this year. So just kind of starting off this morning with something brand new, and I have to say, this is very intriguing, and it's exciting to hear that this is coming to our area, and it's called Raids Online. So something that's going to really be benefiting the public this year, correct?
We think so. Raids Online, it's a program brought to us by a company in Colorado, Bear Analytics. Raids itself stands for Regional Analysis and Information Data Sharing. It's an online-based website resource that we believe will be an avenue for our police department to share crime data with the public. And I might add in kind of an easy to use format. With the goal being that this connection with the public will reduce crime in the city. The format itself is basically a Google type map that you would access on your computer. In that saying, it would pinpoint different types of crime, actually mark it on that map. And from there, the public can create areas of interest, whether entering an address or a neighborhood and then requesting that it show information, everything from a half mile to miles out. Also to manage a range of time. Like if somebody's interested in what's happened in the last 3 weeks or a month, but even past that, to check the different crimes that they're interested in viewing if they've occurred in that area. And to that, there's 27 categories that they divide crimes into. So it really gives them an access to choose an area, to monitor that area, and from that information make some good decisions to, hopefully to prevent crime from affecting them. Otherwise, and I'll add that the information taken for this is actually from police reports that will be uploaded daily. So we'll try to keep it as current as possible. Wow. And probably the only limitations we'll see to it is obviously to protect the privacy of the crime victim themselves. But it'll offer some good information for the community.
So this is 27 different, whether it's like a burglary, what are some of the things that you might be able to pinpoint and see if they've happened in your area?
Exactly, burglary, and I think it does break it down to whether it's commercial or residential. Certainly thefts are addressed, shoplifting. Gets into assaults and certainly into the aggravated assaults, the robberies and so forth. So really try to categorize things to the point where people can really itemize where their concerns are, what they want to check for in a certain area, whether it's a person for the residents or a business owner.
And that's something interesting, because if it is your neighborhood, how do you believe that this would help, I guess, stop crime or prevent crime from happening again, how this tool could be used, because there's a lot of interesting ways how you could actually use this to maybe deter that from continuing on in your neighborhood, correct?
Certainly. I think it as an example, if somebody was interested in perhaps burglaries in the area, well, they put in their address, it's located on the map, maybe they check, within 3 miles or whatever they decide, and then they'll see what the data comes up. And maybe if they see, a couple on there, they can look at those, and it's going to give some information. It's going to give the date, the location to a point. I think we narrow it down to like 100 blocks because we want to protect some of that information.
Sure.
But it gives a time. So in essence, they can say, hey, well, I'm looking like everything in my area is happening in the late morning or something. And they can kind of look back and kind of see where they're at those times and hopefully make good decisions. Am I leaving my garage door up during that time, or what can I do to keep myself from being on that map?
That's a good point. Also, does that go back to maybe keeping your eyes, being extra aware of your surroundings at that time too? Maybe if you're out drinking your coffee on your porch or something at that time, just kind of pay attention to the extra vehicles or people in your neighborhood, if that seems to be the time the crimes are happening.
And it's going to tell you, and you can make it as current as possible. I mean, you can check things within a week or 2 weeks, and something that may not have been a concern before all of a sudden is, so you're aware of it. And we just hope to provide that information and for the public to be able to make good decisions based on that.
Absolutely. That's very interesting.
Actually, I think what is real important for this is that as you're in your house and you're not aware of what's going out, a lot of people are inside now. So this gives them an opportunity to be aware of what's actually going on in their neighborhoods. At that time, then they can start being proactive. Things that they may be seeing that they thought really wasn't very suspicious to them, maybe is now, and they can give us that information. We can act on that information. But I think the important thing is that this is information for the public so that they can be aware, they can start helping the police department take care of their neighborhoods and the rest of Wichita Falls.
So this kind of a step up, I guess, from the current neighborhood watches that may be in place, or even encourage you to create one in your neighborhood too if there's not one.
I think it's going to enhance it. We certainly look at training up all the neighborhood captains on how to use this. And I think it's just going to be an effective tool to enhance what we do with the Neighborhood Watch. And I think the citizens are going to find it to be very beneficial to them.
Absolutely. And what's so exciting about that is this is something you're actually going to be able to take advantage of this year, correct? I mean, is there a time frame that we're looking at of when that might be up and running? I know it's in the works right now.
Right. We're actually in the process of managing that data and fixing uploads and so forth. So easy to say within the month, in the next few months, it should be up and running.
Something to look forward to. Of course, we'll keep you up to date on that as well whenever that comes about. Just kind of going back to the idea, of how this all came about. How is this something that came to your attention, or that you thought, hey, this would be a great thing for Wichita Falls?
Well, there are a few agencies that are currently using it, but as we shop for different systems to manage data and so forth, we became aware of that, and like I say, just comes at in a good format, because it seems like a lot of people anymore are familiar with the web online use, and it certainly is a resource. I think because of that, a lot of people will be in tune to, and a couple other things that we haven't talked about were just it gives a way for us to communicate in different ways. It allows us to take tips. If there is some crime that is pinpointed on the map and you access and you see what it's describing and you feel like you have information, it allows at that point for you to provide information and send in to us, and that'll end up being through our Crime Stopper tip. Otherwise, you can even sign up for email alerts. If you're checked your address and you're concerned if any, for example, burglaries occur in your area, you can check that and put kind of that time and distance location again, and the system will actually send out an email alert notifying you of that event within the area of interest.
Sounds like this is going to be a great communication tool from the police department to the citizens of Wichita Falls, and something I know many are already looking forward to. I know I'm excited to see it and see how it works, and definitely sign up for that. So it kind of goes back, is that an anonymous tip as well? Like if you because of course going back to Crime Stoppers,
Yes.
that's always something.
In fact, it'll utilize the same thing that we're used to now, as far as that same Crime Stopper system. That they'll take advantage of that anonymous tips and that well-structured program.
Well, we need to take a quick break, but we have much more to get to on what the police department has in store for the year 2012. Stay with us. We'll be right back for more Inside Texoma. Welcome back to Inside Texoma. Once again, I am joined here with members from the Wichita Falls Police Department and just talking about the year of 2012 and what to look forward to, and of course a lot of tools out there that are going to be made available to you Texoma this year. We just heard about the raids online that's going to be kicking off in the next few months, and another thing is of course an accreditation program that's called Texas Best. And Officer McClure, if you can just tell us a little more about what Texas Best means to Wichita Falls.
It's a program made up of different police chiefs within the state of Texas. And basically what it does is it looks at different departments, police departments across the state, and it has a set number of standards or areas of interest within the police department. And they range anywhere from something as simple as, does every officer, are they issued a reflective vest when they go out to direct traffic, to something as complex as the police department's yearly budget, and pretty much everything in between. And what the standards are is to make sure that the police department is in compliance with these standards. We'll take a look at these different areas. We'll see what our general orders are, what our directives are, make sure that they're in compliance with the Texas Best program. And if it's not, then maybe kind of tweak it and get it in compliance. It's just a way of ensuring that your police department is working efficiently as possible. And then what happens after all these standards are met, then an outside agency actually comes to the police department, comes to the city of Wichita Falls, and takes a look at how we do business and make sure that we are actually in compliance with all these different standards. You know, they'll ride along with an officer, maybe ask him some questions to make sure that everybody's being trained on the same page. And then once that standard is met, then you're, I guess, considered a certified police department or Texas Best program, just saying that you met all those standards. Again, it's just a way of just showing that your department is just working as efficient as possible.
Is this something that's new to Texas, that's just kind of kicking off this year?
It's not necessarily new. The idea is not new. There's other programs out there, CALEA, and then of course Texas Best. Other states may have their own versions of it, but the idea is not new, but the concept is spot on for the police department.
Ashley, what's with this Texas Best, what we're dealing with is Texas police chiefs. Before with CALEA, back in the 80s and 90s, we were nationally accredited police department. But you're dealing with standards that sometimes don't really affect Texas law, Texas police, because they're trying to do an overall approach for all the states. So this Texas Best is basically dealing with Texas police chiefs that understand Texas law, understand how Texas police departments run. So I think you're going to see it's really been helpful. Our standards are really coming up, and we look forward to having the accreditation process and get through it.
And I know it's probably something even this department strives for, because there's always so many wonderful awards and achievements that have come out of the Wichita Falls Police Department already, you know, from motorcycle officers. I don't want to leave anybody out by naming already, but you know, we've heard so many different reports, so this is just something else. Is this something that everyone must meet, or is this something that is just achieved over time, or there's a deadline to, of course, you know, fit their criteria?
Yeah, the process obviously has a certain time frame that you have to meet the standard within. We're going to be well within that time frame. And then as you continue on, you do like a yearly update. It's not like once you get accredited, that, you know, they leave you high and dry. It's an ongoing process. So it's just to make sure that once you meet those standards, you also continue to maintain those standards and train those standards.
Who is actually heading up the Texas Best? I mean, who is behind this program, basically?
Right now, that program falls within the police department's strategic planning unit. So that's the unit that actually handles that particular job within the police department.
Okay. And just kind of, speaking on the Texas Best, kind of going back to that again, though, who in the state is actually behind that? Like you said, there's a unit within the Wichita Falls Police Department that, would see all the things are met, but who oversees that for each department? You said like somebody would come in and do a ride-along and so forth.
The driving force behind it is the Texas Police Chiefs Association.
Okay. Anything else that you can kind of let us know that you're excited about this year, or that you would kind of like to inform the public that's going to be taking place this year? I know, like we talked about the raids online, I know crime-free businesses and just the neighborhood watch, that's something else that, of course, you'd like to just expand on and continue to see that grow.
The crime-free program, I believe, is I think it's an excellent program that the police department is undertaking. I mean, it runs the full gamut from individual homes to businesses, storage facilities. It has done wonders for the apartment complexes within the city. It has drastically cut the number of police calls to these units. And the crime-free team at the police department they're doing a fantastic job. One thing that I'd like to emphasize would be the crime-free business. We've had a lot of businesses come to us and want to get involved, and it's something as simple as just having an officer come on scene and give them some training. It gives them real good tips, some real good insights on how to keep their business secured. So it's not only protecting themselves, but it's protecting their employees, it's protecting their customers, and just simple little tips and ideas that we can give the businesses just to create a safer environment.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to have much more on the Crime Free program and how you can get involved if you're interested in the Neighborhood Watch, or if you have a business and you'd like to take part in that as well. But we need to take another quick break. We'll be right back with more Inside Texas.